Hi everybody, just some updates for this week. I know it's been a minute, so I have a couple things I want to cover. Just a general reminder to fill out your client report forms if you haven't done that. You should be doing that anytime you have a tutorial that is registered in WC Online. So just make sure that you're doing that in the system as soon as you possibly can after a session so you don't forget anything. Have questions about how to write one of those or where to do it or the procedures of that kind of thing, I did include, I believe, a video tutorial and some written instructions on how to do that in one of the first modules of the course, but we can always meet also to talk about how to do that. So if you're confused, just let me know and I can help you do that. But yeah, that's a really important part of kind of keeping recorded data about what happens in sessions here. So this week I've been catching up on grading. I finished the first tutoring reflections that people did for that first suggested deadline. I have on my list next the second round of tutoring reflections. Remember, that was just a suggested deadline of yesterday. You can post or turn in, I guess, all of your tutoring reflections at the end of the semester if you want. There's no formal deadline for those other than the end of class. So if you want to wait, you can. I would not recommend that because the work just kind of piles up toward the end of the semester. And if I were you, I would just do them during the suggested deadlines. So yeah, you can always do those whenever you want, but just remember that you have to have 3 of them by the end of the semester. We're returning to our traditional do the reading and then do a discussion board format for this week's module. So as you do that, just a reminder, try to space out your responses as much as you can throughout the week instead of leaving them all until Monday. I don't just say this because it's a requirement, but also because when you don't do that, it makes it really hard for some of your peers to be able to respond productively, specifically peers who are busy throughout the week and kind of need to space out their work in order to get everything done. So just please try your hardest this week to try to space out your responses instead of leaving them all until Monday, okay? So like I said before, I'm getting caught up on grading this week. The next thing I'm going to do is look over a couple of our discussion board posts that I haven't been able to get to, and then continue grading your tutoring philosophies. I'm hoping to have those done by this coming Monday. I'm also going to be giving you some feedback on your research project ideas in your proposal. I know you've had an opportunity to talk with your peers about your developing ideas so far, but this is a chance for you to get kind of some feedback from me about places to look, way to kind of hone your project a little bit more to make it easier on yourself. That being said, if you ever want to come in and talk about your research project, we can also do that. So I'll be giving you some written commentary, but if you feel like you need more, feel free to come into office hours virtually or in person, and we can chat about places to look and how to conduct that sort of research. One thing I'm noticing in discussion board posts as I'm grading those, a lot, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but a few responses seem a little like they're coming from a source that is not you. And while I can't prove it, I can say that I'm a little concerned. So what I want to say is I'm most interested in your discussion boards about hearing what you have to say, not whether you're correct about what the readings are saying. I'm not grading on correctness. I'm grading on how you felt about the reading, how you understood it, and I'm also interested in hearing about if you were confused, because that's okay. A lot of these readings are hard, and if they confused you, talk about how you're confused. Talk about terms that don't make sense to you. Talk about sections that you have questions on. That also counts as a discussion board post. I'm not interested in what the internet has to say about these sources, okay? I want to hear from you. I'm way more interested in that. And your peers are more interested in that, right? It's okay to use the discussion board as a way to kind of work through ideas and confusions. That's fine, and that's part of the process. I would be really surprised if everybody completely understood all of the readings and were able to perfectly encapsulate all of the arguments, all of the theory. That's not realistic. A lot of these pieces are really hard. I have a hard time understanding sections of these articles. So I just want to reiterate, I just want to hear from you. One last thing, if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, stressed out, confused, concerned about sessions that you're having lately, or anything about your tutoring, let me know what's going on. Come talk to me in office hours. That's usually the best way to do it because we can have an actual back and forth conversation. You can also email me if you want, but I don't want anybody to suffer in silence if they're having a hard time with conducting tutorials or feeling confident about their work as a tutor. What I want you to do is to come talk to me about those confusions or questions, okay? I'm happy to kind of workshop with you things that happened in a session, how you could have handled it better. If you feel like a client just really didn't do well with their side of the appointment, that's also fine. I have your back, but I can't do that unless I know what's going on. So if you're noticing that, just please come talk to me, okay? I promise I'm not scary. That's what office hours are for. So if you're a virtual student, just email me and we can set up a time to do a Teams meeting. If you're in person, you can always drop into office hours or just email me if those times don't work for you, okay? Please let me know what's going on.